Matt Felix and I have just got done watching about 2 hours probably worth of content.
Felt like 8.
Well, we've just got done perusing the incredible selection of original programming that is now available on the new streaming service, Fox Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have subscribed to Fox Nation, and let me tell you, it is worth every penny.
It is.
It's like, have you ever imagined what the content that's too stupid and low rent, even for Fox News or Fox Business Channel, is like? Would you ever want to see 10 shows all hosted by Greg Gutfeld? then please subscribe to Fox Nation.
This feels
right
like
now.
Fox Nation, like for Greg Gutfeld, it feels like a birthday party that Greg Gutfeld's mom organized. I have to say, like today, you know, I had a good day. I slept 8 hours. I woke up before noon. I woke up at 10:30 today. I went to the gym. I ate really well. But I feel like I just pulled an all-nighter and just ate brown meals. I feel like I have indigestion. That network gives you the feeling of indigestion. It's just very brown doldrum pumped through your brain.
Yeah, there's a lot of Gutfeld. You know, you can get up in that Gutfeld if you want. But there's also, they organize it not just by the show, but by the personality.
Yes.
Which means that you have a choice of dozens of identical blonde women with probably Fox News mandated breast implants, all of whose names sound like Williams-Sonoma catalog items.
Yeah, what was it?
Ainsley Earnhardt.
Ainsley Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Carly Shimkus.
Cat Timpf.
Cat Timpf is not a real one.
Florpy Flap Slop.
I just want to read a little bit. This is from the Daily Beast coverage of it. So it's a subscription-driven online video channel. It's like this is their Netflix, and like I guarantee you, like the dream is to have like original TV shows and movies and crap like that. But it says here.
Do you think old people invite each other over to watch Fox Nation streaming and fuck?
Well, no, like old people are like it's like they all share one Fox Nation password. And they're like, hook me up with that Fox Nation password. I need to watch. I need to watch First Thoughts with Tomi Lahren. But I just want to read for you. It says, at first glance, Fox Nation appears to be a cornucopia of fresh content. A closer look, however, reveals most of the programming to simply be old far-right documentaries with titles like The Great Food Stamp Binge and United Nations Blood Money, most of which aired on Fox News or elsewhere up to 10 years ago, though many have misleading air dates. There is a Greg Gutfeld hosted program about car chases titled You Couldn't Stop Watching. We didn't actually see that one. There's Stuart Varney is on it. All the stars are
All
on
your
it.
star favorites are here.
Some guy-
Joseph Mengele of the Fourth.
This is like
Biffy Caltrops.
This is like the sort of Derwilligers battalion of media.
I know you mean Derwangler, but
Derwangler, whatever.
Derwilliger, that's
all those
like
I'm
sideshow.
sorry,
Bob.
all your culture's names are stupid.
It's a Simpsons thing. It makes it sound like it was Sideshow Bob had a death squad in World War II.
He might have.
I mean, again, just doing a brief sampling of what's on offer on Fox Nation, the streaming service. Here's what is apparent. The production values for this are being kept rock bottom. Is how they're going to make money on this for sure. Like most of the stuff looks like the swipes and like title cards and shit look like it was made with iMovie. And
absolute.
Do you remember those old embedded videos that Trump used to post on Twitter that was like my trip to Asia? It looked exactly like those. Like with the same like slow swipes and shit like that.
And like, you know, we've taken it for granted now that since its inception, Fox News has been just an organ of propaganda for the Republican Party. Like Roger Ailes founded it with that express purpose. But what's fascinating, I guess, about Fox News, but especially Fox Nation, because this is really like the low rent shit where they can, you know, really get some of that more, that sort of more pure product out there, that raw shit.
Yeah,
is like not only is it an organ of propaganda for the Republican Party, it's actually not. There is absolutely not a shred of pretense that anything on this at all is not just pure propaganda for Trump specifically. And we'll talk about the one main thing that we watched all of.
Yeah, there was one.
There's one.
Good piece
There was
of
one
programming.
actual that we watched literally all 40 minutes of, and it was genuinely one of the funniest and most fascinating things I've ever seen. But before we get there, I think we should let the listeners in on some of the other programs that are available now streaming on Fox Nation.
Okay, so there's this awful quiz show where
Wait, can we go through them? I have all down. All right, let's start with Tomi's first thoughts.
Yeah, so first thoughts, I kind of like the name of it because it just implies that it's just some half-baked shit she threw out there whenever she heard like the headline, not even read the story, but it's just YouTube videos.
They're
just YouTube videos for like parents who they tried to get on YouTube, but they entered one letter wrong and went to some Russian site that steals your credit card info specifically for old people that make that mistake. And it's pointless.
It's just her 2-minute kind of rants. And she really sucks at narrating things. She's like doesn't have
even worse than me.
Yeah, the first one was about the gas protests in Paris, and she's like, memo to liberals. This is what happens when you raise taxes on gas. And basically, it started out about how horrible it was that like all these people were injured and the cars were on fire all over Paris. But then she basically came around to supporting the protests because
she was basically in favor of them the whole time.
Yeah, they're rural French people protesting against big government gas taxes. So she's basically in favor of those protests.
French teacups. What is like an equivalent to a bungler that they would say about Macron? I don't know enough French.
Ooh.
This is a listener quiz.
Yeah.
Listener quiz. If you can think of something a French teacup would call Macron, you win. I don't know. I'll buy you a fucking car. I won't remember to do it. You won't get mad at me. Tomi's first thoughts was mostly just fucking pablum. Just like all her videos are supposed to like, really trigger people and get like 60-year-olds to be like, ma'am, I would love it if you took my son's arm in marriage.
Yeah.
But there was one thing I liked because it just betrays like what a bad thinker she is, where she goes, it looked like the scenes of a sci-fi battle. And it just it looks like any like riot in a city. There's no sci-fi shit. Just a fucking dunce.
And then the second one was, of course, about, the immigrant invasion that's currently ongoing. That was actually a big theme of many of these shows.
It was basically, you flip through it, it was just a bunch of ham-faced monsters using joke voices to make fun of child migrants being gassed.
Oh, Dios mío, there's gas in me ass.
It's a spicy meatball.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is a hot tamale. That was basically it.
I mean,
fucking the Crisco-basted face of fucking Harlan Hill. Not Harlan Hill.
Todd Starnes.
Harlan Hill's dad.
Harlan Hill's dad, Todd Starnes, going, ew, well. Meanwhile, just if he underwent like a fraction of the hardship of any one of these people, this guy is basically on the verge of death and he makes 6 figures and lives in Park Slope. How the hell would he even survive on the fucking Honduran border?
Actually, one of the arguments Tomi made against the caravan, and she was like, you keep hearing in the media that, these poor people, they've walked so far, while they've ignored reports about some of them hitchhiking and taking buses. And it was just like, yeah, some of them came, traveled this distance hanging on to a semi. Lazy.
I like how, the demographic of people who will like wage a crusade against a Ruby Tuesday that doesn't honor a 2-year expired coupon because they drove 15 minutes. They're just like, some of them even got to sit down for some of the rides. So.
Tomi Lahren's first thoughts, I grade it Tomi Lahren's only thoughts. Am I right, folks?
Zing.
Just dull. Just
Okay.
fucking.
No, and the other thing is, this is a lot of this content is just repurposed shit from Fox News that they're using to pad out their offerings because they've promised a lot of shows that aren't here yet. The Steve Doocy cooking show's not here yet. The show where the wrestling oaf talks about how PC culture is bad isn't on there yet. Well, so they're using those Tomi's thoughts things. Those are from her hits on regular Fox News, and they're just throwing them on there.
So I guess like a lot of like some of the segments are called Meet. There's one segment called Meet Tomi. Yeah. That was like where she literally goes back to her high school in South Dakota and walks around town. And then there's one called Meet Tyrus. So I guess they're trying to like introduce you to these sort of new, younger Fox News, Fox
Don't
Nation.
Don't be scared of them.
Yeah.
They're not here to steal your clock radio.
We'll get to those. So Tomi's first thoughts, again, just like 2-minute clips of her rants that are repurposed from Fox News. You already know that. I'm sure you've maybe even already seen it. You can pretty much guess what they are. Okay, speaking of dull, let's move on to The Wise Guys. Now the wise guys, you're talking about some characters, okay? You're talking about, imagine this show. The wise guys should actually have been called the 5 people you meet and have dinner with in hell. Imagine a totally empty restaurant where you have to sit at a table and listen to Byron York,
yes,
Bill Bennett,
oh fuck yeah,
Mark Penn, Molly Hemingway,
yes,
and Pat Buchanan have a conversation for an hour and a half. That's how long we went from Tomi's first thoughts, which was 2 minutes, to an hour, a 90-minute show that's filmed in an empty restaurant of 5 corpses looking at each other,
lit like the fucking the room in the first Saw movie. You know, with the fluorescent lights.
It's flickering.
And fucking Gary Elway's sawing his foot off. Just like lit in a way to make them all just look like cadavers who've had their shoes filled with sawdust and propped up at these fucking tables.
Yeah, the lighting of the entire network, actually, I noticed that it looked like the exact lighting of the pedophile couple from Running Scared.
Yes, exactly like that.
It was like the lighting guy didn't like anyone on this network.
Well, it doesn't help that most of the people on this network are near death.
Yeah,
like you got a guy who's 900 years old, like Bill Bennett or Pat Buchanan, or a guy who looks like he's 900 because he's been eating nothing but fucking Clinton campaign fucking lunch tray platters for the past 10 years. Mark Penn, they just look like they're all wearing diabetic support hose underneath their fucking pinstripe pants.
Except for Molly Hemingway.
Yeah, it fucking looked good.
They're sallow. That you can see like rims under their eyes. They look like little hogs.
But like the energy is like Wise Guys is probably like best picture. Like that's probably their most mature offering.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Not a lot of.
This is like if the McLaughlin Group again were held in a restaurant and lasted 2 hours.
No, fuck you. The McLaughlin Group way more so much better. Yeah. The McLaughlin Group fucking ruled.
Energy.
Okay. You're right. McLaughlin did. Yeah.
McLaughlin was so pimp when he would just be like, Pat, what do you think about the SS?
Warren G. Harding was a Negro. Tony Blakely, your thoughts. Yeah. Go.
And so this was probably the most dull television I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It felt like
this is like if everybody at the McLaughlin, you went to the McLaughlin Group right after getting dental surgery.
It was like
no energy.
It was like fucking purgatory. Yeah. It was like the scene in Dante's Inferno where like they're walking around and everyone is like buried up to their neck in ice or something, but they're talking to you about the midterm elections.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I noticed? Pat Buchanan barely said anything during this.
Yeah,
because it was like he was probably so bored.
Oh god,
because they're like so. I noticed a lot of military members are running, but they're Democrats, and Pat Buchanan's like, oh my god, I had all this stuff about the swimming pool at Auschwitz, and I'm just not going to be able to talk about it.
When are we going to talk about Dresden?
Yeah, Pat Buchanan had all this shit where he's like, I have a list of all my favorite members of the SS who were honorable, by the way. And it just, all it is just Mark Penn talking about, like, Arby's voters.
Yeah, awful.
At one point, the horrific, just shambling, towering mountain of Bill Bennett uttered the phrase, if I were a suburban woman, and that's when, like, I just honestly, like, it was like
I was dead.
It was like Hellraiser.
Yeah, we all experienced brain death.
Just ego death happened.
Yeah,
it was like ayahuasca or something. What?
It was one of the most boring. Like there are literally shows in other countries where it's like it's a joke in a book, but it is a real thing where it's just like it shows a train going from one destination. That would honestly be so much better than this.
Well, that's calming to watch. This is just like, it's like you're on, even despite how dull it is, there's just like a certain air of tension because Pat Buchanan is just thinking about it was a transit camp, not a death camp. And then Molly, just God knows what's going on in her head. Just like that backwards chant from Eyes Wide Shut is just permanently on repeat.
That's amazing. You have two amazing. Like Molly Hemingway has some of the best takes.
Oh yeah,
seen. And Pat, like what can you? Pat has been at it. It's Pat. Pat has been at it for 50 years, just being like, middle Americans want a president who will stand up to the Jews in the Holocaust industry. And it's like, how do you have those two on and your show is literally the most boring thing on the streaming service? Just, let him be real.
I love that it's called The Wise Guys.
Yeah, because they are trying to evoke sort of a mob, because that's why it's at the table.
Yeah, it's at a restaurant.
It's
exactly.
like, hey,
we're
it's
having
like
a
the
sit
guys,
down.
we're having a sit down. And the thing is, that works when you have like the real, like the steak and hooker bottles and models, like 5 minutes from us cocaine heart attack guys, like that fucking
Bo
Eric
Dietl.
Bowling and Eric
Bo
Dietl.
Dietl, yeah.
That Eric, those guys, those New York guys.
Yeah.
But these guys, for the most part, are pencil neck DC twerps. That doesn't work. It's the wrong vibe.
Oh my god, dude, Bo Dietl is not on Fox Nation. They need to
Insane.
give him a show
he's too
where he's
good.
just at Rayos, and
Yeah.
like he's just
It's-
slurping
it's,
his macaroni.
Yeah.
And it's like his show is just that scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he comes in and he's like taking pills and he's like, last time you did this, you put your face in the macaroni.
How about
It's called Clean Shoot with Bo Dietl, where they talk about a police shooting, and wouldn't you know it, it was a clean shoot.
Well, actually, they do have the Mark Furman Diaries.
That's literally what that show is.
We'll get to
just
Mark
taking any like black child who was killed and being like, actually, he had a RPG.
We'll get to the Mark Furman show in a second, but Bo Dietl must have a talk show on Fox Nation. If these fucking corpses can have one, we need to see Bo.
But I think that's the point of Fox Nation. I mean, you know what I realized during this, like, what a talent Sean Hannity is compared to just Todd Starnes. Just nothing. He has nothing. He has absolutely nothing. Like, Sean Hannity has this like confidence when he gets on. He's like, Democrats say that they're not racist, but they're racist to Republicans, and it's like he's just so confident. That
Well, it's all the working out he does with Chuck Liddell,
new street style of MMA. Yeah, it's just like this is the B team for sure.
This
Everyone
is the
on
D
this
team.
yeah.
Okay, you mentioned Starnes. Let's get to Starnes. He's got a show
Just
called
bad.
He's got a show called Starnes Country. This just again, he's just
We're the only county in America where every citizen is his own zip code. You sit around Starnes County, folks, he's fat.
But he also has the most like pipsqueak baby face as well.
Yeah, he has I wouldn't say gravelly voice, more of a gravy voice, but he has like a sort of smooth, deep voice that is smooth like gravy.
Now, he reminds me of Stephen Heck said this week to Eric Erickson, but I think it applies just as well to Todd Starnes. He said, how do you have time for all this when you have to keep alerting people that a Warner Brothers cartoon is over?
Oh, my God.
But so it's Todd Starnes, and it comes on, and there's like a countrified font underneath it that's like sort of cowboy and gritty.
Yeah, this is how we do it.
Contrast that with Todd Starnes' face is hilarious.
Yeah.
And then like it just opens up, and it's just, again, in the goofiest way imaginable, the most ghoulish propaganda like you could ever possibly conceive. He literally says, this weekend, an invading army of illegal aliens attacked our border and our border patrol. It was an act of war.
Yeah, it's like Augustus Gloop, but he's editing Der Stürmer. It's horrifying.
And then, as we've alluded to before, he goes on to literally make fun of children being gassed. And then he says, nobody's asking the real question. What kind of parent would put their kids in harm's way? Of course, the vast majority are grown men and teenagers who want to cause mayhem.
They want to pull my pants down and laugh at my little penis.
Yeah, I just hate Todd. I've always hated Todd Starnes because this has always been his act, like being like, I'm just a good old country boy. I guess my only vice is grits. But then, like, he had that book, God's Grits, that was Mike Huckabee.
That was Huckabee, who was one of his panel guests.
No,
on
it
the
was
show.
called. Oh, what the fuck was the name of it?
Oh, they opened up my shirt, like they opened up my hood.
It's like my dipstick and egg gravy on it.
Yeah.
It was like now I'm just a good old son. When I'm in New York City, and then it just like. Now, when I was a kid, Jews hadn't invented homosexuality yet. It just,
Do you remember he had a piece for Fox, like when he was still like not just on Fox Nation, or he had some piece where like he's like talking about living in Park Slope now.
Yeah.
And he goes to a supermarket and he's like in the cheese aisle and he's like, there's like photos of him holding up and it's like a manchego and he's like, Cool. Can you believe this loony?
Yep.
A man shake? What the heck is that?
Yeah.
What in tarnation is this kind of cheese? And it's just you're in a supermarket.
As is always the case, these people who pander to the rube, idiot American hayseeds are way more hateful and condescending to them than people like us could ever be. Like, Todd Starnes' entire career is a huge insult to everyone from the heartland of this country because he shows absolute contempt for them at every level and thinks, I have to give zero effort and just do the barest, laziest signifiers to you fucking dumb farm animals, and you will buy my shitty books and watch my disgusting face on television.
Well, I mean, Trump, not even trying, just like he will get up there and be like, we love just a whole country feast. Got you down home country lasagna and your Velveeta meal, so good. and like, yes sir, we love you. But Todd Starnes does it, and Todd Starnes is just one of the least charming individuals ever put on TV. And it shows. Like, Todd Starnes got shit ratings at Fox News. He was only on there because, like, Rupert Murdoch, because he has dementia, was like, yeah, this guy's good.
And now he's at the kiddie table.
Yeah, no one's watching Todd Starnes except us.
Well, that's the thing that we're really stressed about this is that it is, I'm going to predict, maybe I'll be wrong, it's going to be a fucking failure because these people don't know how to use the computer.
It's like we were talking about Alex's piece this week about the Diamond and Silk movie.
Wrote an article about Diamond and Silk, Dummycrats, which we're going to watch, I think.
Yeah.
We got to have Alex back on.
It's only available to rent on Vimeo.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's good.
Let me quote the thing. I wrote it down. I took a screenshot because it was so funny. So it's only available on Vimeo, so old people who they tell it like it is. You know, those people. They're buying it, but they don't know what the hell Vimeo is. They assume that they're buying a physical thing. So one of the messages underneath the Vimeo is, and this is in Alex's piece, quote, I paid $19.99 and I thought it was on a DVD. It asked if you want to rent it or buy it, so I bought it, and now I don't know what to do. Love you, ladies, but this is very misleading. So guess I lost my money.
Wait, do they literally think that Diamond and Silk just like made a fake?
And they're apparently fine with it. That's how much these are hogs.
You got one over on me, Diamond and Silk.
Yeah, you got me again, girls. Well done.
It's $20 too. Holy shit.
Yeah. There's no way, like, signing up to watch something on the internet and then navigating a website to find your programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
not many people are
not
getting
gonna.
Well, like a good chunk of it is pitched to a younger audience, and we'll get like
none of them are watching.
We mentioned Tomi, and then we're going to talk about Tyrus in a second, and then like the fact that Greg Gutfeld has literally a dozen shows on Fox Network, on Fox Nation,
and he is like one of the youngest people on that network.
Yeah, and he's like 55.
Yeah. Greg Gutfeld is like, he's like Ace. It's like Ace Rothstein's show.
And now, the Greg Gutfeld Dancers. Oh, we love to see them, folks.
Folks, it's Prussian Blue.
They're woke now, dude.
Yeah, but you know, when we were all the Greg Gutfeld things and then just the Fox Nation concept in general is like we were saying. Imagine the rapist dinosaurs who run the Fox network. This is their idea of what like is cool and like for an internet audience, that you can have on your phone.
I mean, you've probably seen Greg Gutfeld. Just like his jokes are like, oh, I'm gonna wear one of those horse head masks, or like, yeah, my gender is an attack helicopter, like that type of shit. You're like, even right wing people don't like find this entertaining or funny, but yeah, it's the 90-year-old rapists who run Fox News are like, this guy's hysterical. He's not afraid to go after anyone.
Two quick more things about the Starnes Country show. Starnes played a clip of some bald-headed psycho on Fox News, presumably a representative of, ICE or Border Patrol or something, say the following sentence: "We did not use kinetic force on any children."
We did not tactically separate any juveniles' heads from their torsos.
We have tactically ascertained a kinetic grouping of children scenarios.
And then the vast majority of the Todd Starnes show, which we did not watch, basically is just what he calls his all-American panel, which is just him having a conversation with David Bossie, Corey Lewandowski, and Mike Huckabee.
Hell yeah.
Why would you have Mike Huckabee on with Todd Starnes? He does the Todd Starnes thing better.
It's
like,
true.
What? Yeah, it's like, I mean, Mike Huckabee, he's like, he's just like, they both do the same thing of being an animatronic jamboree bear and racist, but like Mike Huckabee is objectively better at it. Like Mike Huckabee had a far more successful show.
No. If they were all at the Country Bear Jamboree, Huckabee would be on the washboard in the middle of the band.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Todd Starnes would be like in the balcony. You know, he wouldn't even have an instrument. He'd just sort of be like waving.
Gawping.
He's like the greeter bear. I just had $1 million idea. We may have to cut this out because I don't want anyone stealing it. So it's just basically it's Oliver Stone's The Doors, but about a Country Bear Jamboree band. There's like the Van Morrison of Jamboree Bear.
Jim Morrison.
Oh, what did I
You
say?
said Van Morrison.
Okay, well, he was also a singer, so I don't really see how that proved your point.
And one last thing, Todd Starnes introduced the All-American panel by saying it's the best-looking panel on television, which is just absolutely not true.
I mean,
I think he was
Self-evident.
joking. I think he was joking.
I know.
I mean, Cora Lewandowski has that square head that all Polish people have. Very desirable. But, just an awful hog man just rolling around in butter for all to see.
Yeah.
You hate to see it. You just hate to see it.
yeah, David Bowie looks like a casino pit boss who is like a week from getting fired for fucking stealing chips.
All right, let's tear through the rest of them because we got to get to the crown
reason
jewel.
you subscribe.
The reason that
I caught a couple. I know Will was taking notes, but I got a couple.
Okay.
There's Lou Dobbs' prostate adventure. That's a good one. There's the open toe shoe report with Timberly Van Trunk and Carla Spunch. And of course, my favorite show. You've won a cruise. Send us your credit card number.
Those are all good programs, man.
There's one show called Meet Tyrus, and they're introducing this new character into the Fox News universe. Tyrus, who's a former WWE wrestler who became friends with Greg Gutfeld on Twitter and then became a perennial Red Eye guest, who they're now trying to have his own show called Un-PC.
That's right, folks. You thought it was going to be PC? Oh, you are in for a
Oh, no, I
ride.
literally turned on Fox News expecting a guy who's sipping a latte to tell me that Black Lives Matter and that he celebrates Kwanzaa. No, you're telling me he's not PC on Fox News?
Are you saying that this show isn't a safe space?
So it's just like, I love the idea that it's like, I have no idea. It's just a crazy series of events that I ended up on Red Eye. Just the show, like it was like when the Irish came in off the boats and they got drafted into the Union Army. That's kind of like the booking process for Red Eye. It's like, have you ever even been on like a podcast or anything?
Yeah.
Please come on. Please.
There was somebody in Times Square next to the dude trying to get people to go to Caroline's going, want to be on Red Eye?
Yeah.
Do you like to laugh and or be on television shows at 4 a.m? First of all, Greg Gutfeld, just awful. Just like his
rat
just
face,
his, like,
disgusting, and it's like he's aging terribly, so he looks even worse than he used to. His face is getting puckered. His cheek honestly looks like an old person's ass.
But basically, the entire
like there's puckering and cellulite. It's noxious.
Meet Tyrus was just an interview where Greg is interviewing Tyrus about how important a mentor Greg was in Tyrus's life, and they have amazing chemistry. They have amazing chemistry together. He says he's learned so much from Greg. He doesn't just bash people or make fun of them anymore, and he's evolved politically. Most of it is just clips from Red Eye and showing them like hanging out together like backstage at Red Eye. And there is one detail that I really liked where there's a painting of Greg Gutfeld, presumably in his office or something, that's like the portrait of Dorian Gray if it wasn't working and they were both just becoming hideous together at the same time.
In tandem.
Literally rotting.
Yeah.
Look forward to Tyrus. Look forward to
I
his
gotta
show.
say, the guy, he tells it like it is. He's not afraid to offend people. When he
big.
tells an audience of white old racist shut-ins that black people should obey the police. He's not afraid to tell people like it is.
That is how Tyrus first got famous and really blew up. Is when he had a rant on Red Eye about how you must comply with the police and never resist arrest while wearing a shirt that literally, I'm not making this up, says "My Life Matters" with a brain on
Giant brain.
Cool.
So, I mean, this is a hack observation, but it is funny thinking about how these people glory in the idea that they hate safe spaces and trample sacred cows, and that this channel is fucking... It is the most safe space I've ever observed. There's not a single moment where any thought that goes against the conservative hive mind is entertained for a second. It's a hermetic bubble. It is the safest possible. It's the fucking Travolta's bubble from that fucking movie, Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Oh, I thought you meant Gotti.
Well, if that is part of the conservative hive mind, there are corners of that mind that are like the dark, scary attic or basement.
Yeah.
And that is reserved for a show that is called The Furman Diaries, which is literally almost the Turner Diaries.
Basically.
It's
It may
almost
as
like
well
they
be.
like it's literally called The Furman Diaries. Almost again, Diary of a Madman, just notes they're found in a serial killer's apartment after he
Bridget
goes
Jones's
crazy.
Diary.
Yeah, shit like that. And the episode, it was just like the Mike Brown episode, and honestly, like we couldn't even watch it.
Yeah, no, we had
was
to
just
turn it
way
off.
too dark, way too dark. So moving on from there, there's the Dana Perino Book Club, where wouldn't you know it, she interviews Greg Gutfeld about his books.
He is everywhere. He is every single... Like, Greg Gutfeld probably stepped into a reactor a year ago, and they're like, we have found a way for you to be on 7 different Fox shows at once.
There's another show hosted by Rachel Campos Duffy, just called Moms.
This is...
just
Moms was like paid advertising for Xanax. Like, it was just... It was one of the most insane things. That was the only thing that approached the other good show. Moms was... I mean, you said it was David Lynchian.
Yeah, it was like... David, no, it was like a little bit of John Waters, a little bit of David Lynch, and that it's these 5 just insane looking women who are either like really keyed up or like slurring and just sort of
everyone
slow-mo.
was well medicated. I mean, that place was like... That was like the waiting room at JFK's doctor's office. Everybody was on some real shit.
Yeah, Moms is
But it's
like...
just Moms.
Yeah.
Moms was... It was definitely the most interesting thing on there, besides one thing, obviously, but it was... They were... Like every other show, it just seemed like just a really old person trying to figure out what young people like. Like, hey, why don't we do YouTube? But it's on our own shitty proprietary video service that buffers at 480p for half the video. But with Moms, that was like the Fox sort of bird brain Xanax person thing I love, where it's just like just a bunch of ladies who are just, you know, it's 3 p.m. They're on bar 3, and they're like, "What? We should talk about this fucking the things. Yeah, you have kids is different. Just have a show about it." It's just like Dana Perino, her show. I got a little bit of that suburban alcoholic vibe, like the harsh suburban.
She literally said it's a book club where you don't have to read the book.
With Dana Perino, there are 2 Fox News characters, right? Or 3. There's the rapist, then there's the jamboree bear, and then there's like the mean suburban mom who has some sort of chemical dependency and is trying to give one or more of her kids an eating disorder. And you know, I got a little like the Dana Perino one where she's like, "Don't worry, you don't have to read the book." It's like, whoa, this is awesome. Like, this is like a barbecue in like Kokomo, Indiana, where everyone hates each other. I love this.
But again, the conceit where she's going to talk to renowned author Greg Gutfeld about his books, The Joy of Hate, The Untruths You Can't Say, and, you know, one was just called like The Office Checklist, and it was about how to be good at work.
One of Greg Gutfeld's books was really literally transcripts of his rants from the 5. Like, I'm reading a novelization of the show The 5.
I gotta say, I can't imagine. I honestly, when I hear there's a website you can go to on the internet, and you can click on a video and find out what Greg Gutfeld's writing process is like.
Great.
I mean, there's no price too high.
Yeah. They're just giving it away for that type of value.
Finally, I did read earlier that one of the documentaries is also called "Honor Killings in America." you know that big problem that is like going on everywhere that nobody's talking about. That's finally going to be exposed.
I mean, I'm assuming they're not referring to the overwhelming prevalence of husbands and boyfriends killing their wives in this country.
No.
after
not
breaking
that.
up with them.
Oh no, not that.
Or during custody disputes
No,
or
it's
things
about
like that.
Sharia law.
No,
Of course,
yeah.
It's about all the honor killings that are
Yeah, the
definitely happening.
10% of America that's under Sharia law.
Okay. Finally, before we get into the crown jewel, there was just a quiz show, just called Quiz Show, with Tom Shalhoub.
Ooh.
A guy.
That guy, he looks like Andy Daly's death mask.
Do you think they booked him because, like, whatever just syphilitic or dementia-addled executive thought they were booking Tony Shalhoub?
And this is like a quiz show where Tom Shalhoub gives just like wild, dumb questions to Fox News personalities.
who are up to the challenge of being as idiotic as the questions posed to them.
The episode we saw was with Fox Business superstar named like Alexa Navratilopoulos.
Some Greek broad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, she said, speaking of the movie Platoon with Charlie Sheen, she said that was a great book.
Yeah.
She thought
Platoon is not based on a book.
Platoon is not a book.
She's probably thinking of Apocalypse Now.
Which is also based on Heart of Darkness.
Right.
But, you know,
I mean,
I highly
highly
doubt she's thinking of that too.
I just want to know what book she was thinking. I honestly, she was probably just assuming it was a book, and she thought she'd sound smart if she said, "Oh, that was." I read the book.